Most of you heard by now the disappointing news that the proposed fall matchup between unified middleweight champion Christina Hammer and unified middleweight champion Claressa Shields, that fight is off. And Christina Hammer, she had this to say. She said, "Dear Hammer fans, I have problems with my health. I try my best as a champ to train hard for this special fight, but I feel bad. My doctor doesn't allow me to fight and no hard training for a few months. It's really sad now, but this fight will come. I promise you that all fans will get this Hammer fight. I step into the ring when I'm in 100% health. I will win. Thanks to my family and coach who takes care of me. Thanks WCBC Boxing, do my best to get fast health. I'll be back stronger, and thank you." Apparently, there are some health concerns for Christina Hammer, but it's undisclosed. It's undisclosed as to what those health concerns are, and she's not being cleared to fight till March of next year. And as you can imagine, unified middleweight champion Claressa Shields is about as disappointed as the fans are. And she had this to say via her Instagram account in a caption that reads, "Yeah, she's sick all right with a damn heart problem. I wish you have a speedy recovery, but till then, you can shut the hell up. I've been waiting a year and some change to fight you, and all you've been doing is talking trash, following me everywhere, using my name to help yours, and now, this is just a few days after the undisputed fight was announced. I won't be saying your name after this. This is the Claressa Shields show. You don't run anything. Heal up, take care of yourself, because when the fight finally happens, I don't want any excuses on why you lost." Now, boxing fans are a cynical group of people. We're very cynical, very jaded.
Sarcastic.
And when you hear news like this, more often than not, the way a boxing fan reacts to it is they might feel that the fighter that's claiming to be injured is bullshit. That you ain't injured, you're just trying to buy yourself more time. That, nothing's wrong or anything like that. You're just delaying, postponing, and stalling for as long as you can because you feel that when the fight does go down, you're going to lose. There are boxing fans that are of this opinions, and they quickly flooded the comments under this comment section from Claressa Shields. There are boxing fans out there that are very cynical, that they don't take it at face value that Christina Hammer is injured or is unable to fight due to some clinical illness. They don't believe that. But this is my reaction. This is the most that I can say, and you can feel free to disagree. For as long as this fight has been in the conversation, I never got the impression from either fighter, Claressa Shields or Christina Hammer, I never got the impression that one of these girls is afraid to fight.
Never.
I never got the impression from Christina Hammer that she is afraid of Claressa Shields.
Not once.
I never got that impression.
Not once.
And with Claressa Shields' last performance, a very interesting talking point. Claressa Shields was put on the canvas not by a middleweight champion, but a junior middleweight, Hannah Gabriels, a fighter of smaller dimensions, not just than Claressa, but than Christina.
She made Claressa look human.
A situation like that, if you're Christina Hammer and you're watching this, and you know that your power in the middleweight division is certifiable, whereas for Hannah Gabriels, that was her first fight in the middleweight division. And in her first fight in the middleweight division, she dropped a super middleweight champion. Put her on her ass early in the fight. If you're Christina Hammer, you're looking at this and you're telling yourself, oh, well, if Hannah hurt her, I know I can hurt her because I'm a bigger puncher than Hannah. I'm bigger than Hannah. So looking at that, taking that into consideration, and then looking at the demeanor of the fighters, for as long as this has been a conversation, I've never gotten the impression that Christina Hammer was somehow afraid to face Claressa Shields. I looked at them as two fighters who both want the fight. You can see the animosity is there. You can see that the animosity is real. So in light of this news,
I'm disappointed
that, they're postponing because Christina Hammer is not medically cleared to fight. In light of that news, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that Christina Hammer is just faking an injury to get out of the fight. I'm just going to take it as at face value until more news develops. More compelling news that might lead me to believe something else. Because right now, all we know is that Christina Hammer is not medically cleared to fight till next year, and even though the injury or the condition is undisclosed, that's all we know.
So don't make shit up.
What I'm getting at here is, you see, Claressa looked human in her last fight, so the opportune time to fight her would be immediately after that, because she looked human in her last fight.
Not scary.
I don't see a situation where Christina Hammer's looking at how Claressa performed and saying, oh my God, I don't want any parts of her. I don't see a situation like that. And it's for that reason that, unlike most cynical fight fans, and look, I don't blame the people that are cynical. Sometimes that happens. Fighters use an injury to get out of a fight so that they can either delay it or do something else. We know Billy Joe Saunders did that to Martin Murray. We know. So I understand people that are of that opinion, but I'm saying that from where I'm sitting,
she ain't scared.
I don't look at it that way. I don't look at this as Christina Hammer's delaying the fight because she's afraid to fight. I don't think she's afraid to fight. And since Claressa Shields looked human in her last fight,
not scary,
now would be the opportune time to strike. So I don't see a situation where she's running, where Christina's running from the fight. I don't. Now, in light of this disappointing news, the silver lining is Christina, she's out, but the silver lining is Claressa Shields does intend to fight on. She does intend to fight on that same day, so that's the silver lining. That the unified champion is going to be keeping busy with someone else. It won't be as high profile an opponent, obviously, but it does behoove her to keep busy, to stay sharp for, when spring rolls around next year, and hopefully Christina Hammer is cleared to fight.
Let's hope so.
I'm just hoping that whatever this injury is, or whatever this medical condition is, I'm just hoping, honestly, that it's nothing serious. It wasn't disclosed to the media what's going on with Christina. That's the compelling part. That what's going on? Is this a sprain? Is this a muscle tear? What's happening? Why hasn't the injury been disclosed to the boxing community that was anticipating this fight? And that can only be two things. Either they're bullshitting and she's not injured, or the injury or the illness is serious enough that it might actually extend past March. Oh yeah, that's a scenario. Because we don't know what's wrong with her. But whatever it is, it's bad enough that she can't even have any hard sparring anytime in the near future. So what could it be? Whatever it is, it must be serious enough that the girl can't work. So this is just my reaction. I'm sure most of you have already heard the news. This is just my reaction. My take. I don't feel like Christina is faking an injury. Especially after Claressa Shields looked the most human I've ever seen Claressa Shields look in a professional fight. I don't think Christina Hammer is faking. Something's going on.
Might be telling the truth.
And the most I can say is I wish her a speedy recovery. Now, in regards to yesterday's press conference between WBC champion Deontay Wilder and lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, Tyson had this to say. He's saying that Deontay Wilder only took the fight because Deontay believes that Tyson Fury is done. Essentially, Tyson Fury is saying that the only reason that Deontay Wilder took on this fight, it's not because of what he's saying. It's not because he feels that Tyson Fury is the best and Wilder wants to prove he's the best. Tyson is saying that Wilder's taking the fight because he figures that Fury's washed up. And that's the only reason that Wilder wanted to take the fight, because he figures that he's washed up and he hasn't fought anybody good in 2.5 years, and this is the best time to fight Tyson Fury now that he's washed up. Now, obviously, Deontay Wilder disagreed with this. He's saying, no, we want to fight you because we feel that you're the best. But I'm gonna be completely honest when I say that I agree with Tyson Fury. I believe that the only reason that these guys are even looking at Fury in any capacity because this fight has drawn up so much skepticism from the boxing community. There are people now that still don't feel that these guys are going to fight because Tyson Fury hasn't fought anyone good in 2.5 years. And this is kind of suicide. It's kind of like a suicide mission
For Tyson Fury.
But I do agree with Tyson that Tyson's current condition, the fact that he really hasn't fought anyone good in close to 3 years or 3 years.
It's the truth.
I believe that had a lot to do with the decision. Essentially, look, they whether they're fighting or they're not fighting, whether they do fight or they don't fight, one thing is certain. They're using each other to raise their marquee value.
Against Joshua.
Whether this is a PR stunt like some people believe, or whether they do fight on December 1st. Either way, it's the same thing. They're using each other to raise their marquee value. But on the premise that these guys actually do fight, well, the odds don't favor Tyson Fury. They don't.
Call a spade a spade.
I mean, I'm not telling you guys to pick who I pick. I'm just saying that when a guy's been out of the ring for close to 2.5 years, or 3 years, close to 3 years, and the most he does is what, Francesco Pianeta and that other guy? That's not very encouraging. We don't know where you really are because those aren't world-level opponents. They can't tell us what we need to know. And you'd be pretty fucking naive to think that Deontay Wilder and Shelly Finkel, you'd be pretty naive to think that they don't look at it that way too. Of course they do. When you look at Tyson Fury as an opponent, if you're Deontay Wilder, you're Shelly Finkel, you're looking at the names that are out there that can get you to where you want to get. And then you come across Tyson Fury's name, a name that everybody's familiar with. Anybody that watches this division knows the name of Tyson Fury. They know he's undefeated. They know he's a player in the game. They know that this is the lineal heavyweight champion. They know that. But they also know that Tyson Fury absconded. He decided to retire at the height of his career amidst scandals, several scandals. He stays out of action for 2.5 years. He doesn't fight anybody. He balloons in weight. He's got a substance abuse thing going on, or had one. He comes back. He fights 2 nobodies. This is the most opportune guy for you to fight because he's got the biggest, aside from Anthony Joshua, Fury's got the biggest name in the division aside from Joshua. If you're Deontay Wilder, you're looking around for names to fight. Okay, relatively speaking, the biggest names in the division are Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury. But out of those 3 names, the least active guy is Tyson Fury.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, he's undefeated like Anthony Joshua, but he hasn't been keeping busy like Anthony Joshua.
Nope.
He hasn't been keeping in shape like Anthony Joshua.
Nope.
I mean, essentially, it's the most opportune name for the biggest value that you can get. So when Tyson Fury says that, he believes that Wilder's only taking the fight because it's an opportune time to fight, well, I do think that had something to do with the decision-making process. Now, this banter, as entertaining as it is, it's also compelling. And we're operating on the premise, on the assumption that these guys actually are going to fight in December 1st. Some people are like me. They need to see it to believe it. That you could sit there, you could make a show of it, you could talk a good one, and all of that shit. But I got to see it to believe it. Some people are still skeptical. But all of this witty banter, all of this back and forth, it's very entertaining. But I'm not going to read too much into it because, who knows what's really going on here? Who really knows? The most I'll say is in a situation like that, not just Deontay Wilder, not Shelly Finkel, but just about anybody would take on an opponent like this because this is an opportune opponent. It's an opponent that has a name but is very vulnerable right now, essentially very beatable.
It seems.
The most reward for the least risks. Ask yourselves, who's really taking a risk here? If these guys are fighting, then who's really taking the risk out of these 2 guys? Wilder or Fury? In other news, Kaunaki had this to say: if Brown wants to fight, it'll end in a vicious knockout. Adam Kaunaki is more than willing to grant Lucas Brown his wish. The Australian heavyweight contender called out Kaunaki after knocking out journeyman Julius Long in the 3rd round Friday on Broad Beach, Australia. Essentially, Lucas Brown had a little tune-up fight because, he's coming off of that loss to Dylan White.
He was.
He came off that loss. He had a little tune-up fight against Julius Long, and he knocked Julius Long out. Good for Lucas Brown. Good on him. And he proceeded to call out
Adam Kaunaki.
So here's what I think about that potential matchup. Maybe to the eye, these guys
look similar.
Might appear similar. Because they're both Caucasian guys that are bald. Both of them have light-colored eyes. So you know what I mean? Like maybe to the eye, These guys might appear familiar to you.
Similar, you
or,
mean.
well, not familiar, but similar. But rest assured, these two guys are worlds apart. They are. You know, Lucas Brown only has one professional loss. And it's not fair to write a guy off just for losing one fight. One fight to a top-level heavyweight. That much is true. But you'll excuse me for saying that after what I saw in the Charles Martin fight between Charles Martin and Adam Kaunaki, you'll excuse me for saying that if Lucas Brown is to meet Adam in the ring, I'd favor Adam to win that fight. And I'd favor Adam to win that fight by way of knockout. I feel that having seen how Adam works in there, he's got a phenomenal work rate. Phenomenal.
For a heavyweight.
Which could overwhelm a guy who's seen as many winners as Lucas Brown has. You know, even in that Julius Long fight, if you've taken the time to look at it, he still does appear to be on the slower side, a little bit sluggish. Whereas Adam Kaunaki, don't judge the book by its cover. This guy's got some sharp punches and a phenomenal work rate for a heavyweight. Just as well, Adam Kaunaki has his defensive virtues. This guy's no slow, stationary plotter. This guy's got some good head movement. Knows how to slip punches and fire counter punches. Throw punches in bunches. Essentially, Lucas Brown could lose to Adam Kaunaki in all the same ways and for all the same reasons that he lost to Dylan White. Lucas Brown would get outworked. It's gutsy for Lucas to even be calling out Adam. It's gutsy. I respect it. I respect it. But if these guys do, enter a negotiation situation to make a fight and a fight gets made, if that happens, I've got Adam winning that fight. And I've got Adam winning that fight by way of knockout. Adam is one of the dark horses in the heavyweight division. He's a guy that now at least I know better than to look past. And I won't look past him again, and it behooves Lucas Brown not to either.